Apparently, being gay also means being hypersexual. At least, that's what some of us are led to believe. But human sexuality expresses itself very differently from person to person. Today, I want to talk about two forms of this: gray-asexuality and demisexuality, and the struggle many of us experience fitting in. When I was 18 and just starting to explore my gay identity, I found myself drawn to nightclubs. After all, this seemed like the best venue in which to meet other gay men and hopefully make friends. Each club usually had a cover charge, but as a poor student, I often found myself balking. One time, a bouncer even laughed at my reaction. "Don't worry," he said, "you'll get laid." I remember feeling absolutely mortified. How could he have so mistaken my intentions? Yet, it was, as it turned out, a fairly normal assumption to make. Inside these clubs, I frequently saw strangers sizing each other up across the dance floor. And when I tried to make small talk with people, I'd catch them looking over my shoulder at the latest person to walk through the door. Many people I met appeared to be solely looking for casual sex. I was so bored by this idea that I'd often end up sitting in a corner and browsing free gay publications. The articles and advertisements I saw within seemed again to speak to this hypersexual facet of the gay identity. In theory, the gay community is inclusive, but in practice, it can lead towards a monoculture. The word monoculture refers to cultivating one kind of crop at a time. This is compared to polyculture, where you cultivate multiple crops at the same time. The gay monoculture promotes this idea that all gay men should be hypersexual and open to discussing their sexual preferences with one another. But for me, sexuality has always been personal and private. I've rarely felt the need to disclose my preferences to anyone, friends included, or to actively pursue sex. When I met other gay men, online or in person, I'd explain that I wanted to be their friend and to get to know them. For me, the familiarity and safety provided by a friendship were necessary before progressing the relationship. Intellectual connection and interpersonal compatibility were also important, and I couldn't be sure of either on short acquaintance. But many people received my request to get to know them as a rejection. I was, in their view, friend-zoning them. It seemed I had failed to grasp a common but unspoken belief that when two gay men come into contact, sex must result. And this made sense given casual sex in the gay world is often treated as a kind of handshake. This is not to say that gay culture is monolithic. It arose, after all, as a response to the constraints of heterosexuality. But this tendency to lean towards a single expression of sexuality can be marginalizing and even oppressive to those who don't and can't follow it. It's only in the past few years, after coming to identify with the gray-asexual and demisexual labels, that I've understood why gay hypersexuality never sat right with me. What does it mean to be gray-asexual, also known as gray-A or gray-ace? Gray-asexuals feel sexual attraction infrequently, of low intensity, to few people, or in specific circumstances. They feel sexual attraction but have no desire to act on it. They have confusing or ambiguous feelings of sexual attraction. They feel that sexual attraction is not a meaningful concept to them personally. Gray-asexuality clearly has many possible definitions and is experienced differently by each individual. Demisexuality means feeling sexual attraction only after forming an emotional bond. Some consider it to be a subset of gray-asexuality. In my case, I relate to both labels. I experience sexual attraction, but in limited circumstances and at a low intensity. These feelings are often ambiguous, aren't that important to me, and I usually have little desire to act on them. And if I do, full enjoyment is rarely possible unless I've first formed an emotional bond. Quite a lot of fine print, and not exactly something you drop in a casual conversation. Allosexuality, that is, feeling sexual attraction, is treated as the norm. So gray aces and demisexuals like myself may thus find fitting in difficult. For example, we may often come to the conclusion that our lack of sexual interest and/or drive is a problem and that something is wrong with us. If you don't indulge in hypersexuality, you may feel like you're somehow failing the gay acid test. Another fact to consider is that in gay culture, being sexually desirable is, unfortunately, often tied to self-worth. Having a lack of sexual interest in others may thus be interpreted as a form of rejection. Not wanting to engage in sexual activities may be perfectly comfortable for you, but failing to meet allosexuals' expectations can create discomfort, if not frustration, for them. Many a time, I've found myself in situations where another person clearly wanted some kind of sexual outcome. When that outcome didn't happen, some people would only pressure me further. Sometimes I froze, and sometimes I gave in. When I did manage to find my voice and refuse, hurt and anger could sometimes result. It's hard not to feel somehow wrong or at fault in these situations. You get to thinking that maybe it's on you to be more upfront about your preferences. But even when we are, there's always a possibility that it might be explained away. I've had more than a few people tell me that I just hadn't had the right sexual experience or partner yet. Ironic, given that this is the same argument that's been used against gay people for expressing interest in the same sex. It isn't fair that allosexuality is treated as the default, and alternate sexual expressions as abnormal. We gray aces and demisexuals shouldn't feel blamed or shamed for failing to meet some kind of sexual mandate. This is, after all, a fundamental part of who we are, and our diverse identities are just one variation of many that exist within the LGBTQI+ community. So enough about me. I want to know, do you identify as gray asexual or demisexual? If so, what's it been like for you? Leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you liked it, hit the bell icon, and subscribed to my channel. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.